I think for me personally, it's been a very good season. Not very, but it's been a fairly good season, considering where we came from. Especially last season, struggling to fight relegation, and never really brought in new players. We used the same players, and we started very well. We got into the final of the MTN 8, which we lost to Cape Town City on penalties. And I think we finished the first part of the season, third on the log. Although during that time we lost, our most influential players like Evans Rusike, Thabo Mnyamane, Dean Femin, Bradley Krobler. We missed them for about 4 months. But we continued, credit to the guys. I think they showed a lot of character during that time. And second half of the season, I think we did very well. We were a little bit more consistent. We picked up, good results at the right time. Though we wanted to go all the way, but we fell short, I think, in the last few games, especially the game against Amazulu. Because if we had won that game, we could have still, kept us in the running for the league. But nevertheless, I think we did very well. We never really brought in new players. If you look at our squad, we only brought in George and Mkolisi in January. So we never really got into the market, to say we overhauling the squad. Probably this is something which we need to do in the next season. There are areas where we feel short. On the fullbacks, because at the moment we've got only Basera and we've got only Sia, because we've moved Grant to play as a centre back, and up front because we've gone throughout the season with only 2 strikers, and it's been difficult on them, but they kept soldiering on, playing week in week out, which is not always easy, especially for a striker. And I think we need to try and beef up those areas as well, and get a little bit more quality, maybe 1 or 2 wide players, wingers, who are creative, good on 1 versus 1 situations, who can dribble as well and still score goals. Because we haven't really scored goals, this season. This season we struggled in front of goal, which is one area also we need to try and improve next season. We need to bring in players who can also, chip in with the goals, not only rely on the strikers. And I think we've had, few goals. I think Evans Rusike scored 4, and Aubrey scored, I think he scored 5, if I'm not mistaken. And I think we need more players who can chip in with the goals. No, we haven't made any decision yet. It's due to what I've just said, because we still have another game to play. And at the same time as well, we've got to respect that before we can, start talking about it, to the public. He's a Sundowns player, and they gave us a player, so we need to take him back first. And then if there's any negotiations, then they can, go, take place after that. The same applies to Machupu. He is not our player, so we cannot really go and start talking about his future before we can engage the club, because he has to go back to vets first before we can start talking or taking it out in the media. And also we have to make a decision in terms of what are our plans with those 2 players. Well, I think the most important thing for me, I think he signed for Brighton, and they loaned him to a second division team in Belgium. What comes out first in my mind was he in the right frame of mind? Did he go there with the right attitude? And I think those questions have been answered, and that shows what kind of a person he is, what kind of a player he is, who's got a never die attitude. I think if he was someone who's got a different attitude, would have gone there with a negative attitude and not perform. but it's because he shows that he's got desire to go and play in the highest, league, the bigger league, which is in England, and everyone can see that he's a quality player. But you got to try and do it, week in, week out, and he's been very consistent. He won Player of the Year here in South Africa, and he goes there and wins Player of the Year in Belgium in his league, and he also scoring 7 goals. And I think I'm really proud of him. I remember there's a time when we played a friendly against Bafana here, and I had a chat with him, and I said, "How are you doing in Belgium?" And he said, "No, it's okay." And I said, "Don't come back." And he said, "I'm not coming back. I will never come back." And I said to him, "That's the attitude. You've got, an opportunity to showcase your talent, to play at the highest level. Then go and prove it. It's not easy for any player to get that, just that window, to go and play in Europe. So once you get it, you've got to grab it. And I'm really proud of him. I'm happy for him." I hope he just grows from strength to strength, and keep doing well. You can see that when he comes back with the right mentality, right attitude. He showed when we played Libya, scoring those 2 goals, and that's the attitude, that's the mentality you need. And I hope if we can have a lot of players going to play in Europe with the same mentality, same attitude, and I think the national team will improve.